1. We're taking a closer look at a classic 1979 Ford F-150 that's currently up for grabs on Facebook Marketplace. This beauty is priced at $14,375, and from what I can tell, it seems to be a solid deal. First off, let's talk about the specs. This F-150 has a manual transmission, which is a big plus for those who love the feel of shifting gears themselves. It's also got a custom-built inline 6-cylinder Ford 300 engine, courtesy of Gibson Performance in Spokane. The dual carburetor setup from Clifford Performance, long tube headers, dual exhaust, and hybrid cam kit all contribute to what I imagine is a pretty impressive driving experience. The seller mentions that the truck has power steering and a Ford 9 solid rear axle, which is great news for those who plan on using this truck for some heavy-duty work. The all-around brake set was replaced in 2022, so you can feel confident in the stopping power of this beast. Now let's talk about the condition. The seller is upfront about the fact that there are a few cosmetic issues that could be addressed to make the truck look like new. However, they also emphasize that overall, it's a great truck that has never let them down. The fact that it's been stored in a garage during the winters is a good sign that it's been well maintained. The seller also notes that the heater, power steering, 4x4, locking hubs, windows, headlights, and all gauges, except for the speedometer, are in working order. This is a testament to the quality of the truck and the care that's been put into it over the years. Overall, if you're in the market for a classic truck with some serious power under the hood, this 1979 Ford F-150 is definitely worth checking out. The price seems fair for the condition and the upgrades that have been made, and the fact that it's been well maintained is a big plus. Just keep in mind that there may be some cosmetic work that needs to be done to get it looking like new again. As always, be sure to do your due diligence before making a purchase. Ask for more photos if you need them, and consider getting a professional inspection to ensure that everything is in good working order. But if everything checks out, this could be a great addition to your garage or job site. 2. We're taking a closer look at a classic 1975 Ford F-250 that's currently available on Facebook Marketplace. This eye-catching orange beauty is priced at $7,000, and from what the seller has shared, it seems like it could be a solid investment for the right buyer. First off, let's talk about the specs. This F-250 comes with a manual transmission, which is great news for those who enjoy the control and engagement that comes with shifting gears themselves. The exterior color is a vibrant orange, which is sure to turn heads wherever you go. The seller hasn't mentioned the interior color, but based on the price and the overall description, it's safe to assume that it may need some work. Under the hood, you'll find a rebuilt 390 engine, which is a big plus. A rebuilt engine means that it's been thoroughly inspected, cleaned, and had any worn or damaged parts replaced. This can give you some peace of mind knowing that the heart of the truck has been given a new lease on life. The seller also mentions that the truck has all new wiring, which is another great sign. Electrical issues can be a real headache, especially in older vehicles, so knowing that the wiring has been recently replaced is a definite selling point. Now, let's talk about the overall condition. The seller doesn't go into a ton of detail here, but they do mention that the truck runs and drives well. They also note that there is no significant damage or problems with the vehicle, which is always good to hear. One thing to keep in mind is that this truck has had 2 owners in the past. While this isn't necessarily a red flag, it's always a good idea to ask for more information about the truck's history and maintenance records. The seller is upfront about the fact that they're not interested in trades, which is good to know if you were considering that option. They also encourage potential buyers to reach out with any questions, which is always a good sign of a transparent and communicative seller. Overall, if you're in the market for a classic Ford truck with a rebuilt engine and new wiring, this 1975 F-250 could be a great option. The price seems fair for the work that's been done, and the fact that it runs and drives well is a big plus. As always, be sure to do your due diligence before making a purchase. Ask for more photos if you need them, and consider getting a professional inspection to ensure that everything is in good working order. but if everything checks out, this could be a great project truck or a fun weekend cruiser. 3. We're taking a closer look at a 1984 Ford Ranger that's currently up for grabs on Facebook Marketplace. This tan and brown beauty is priced at just $1,500, but there are a few things to keep in mind before you pull the trigger. First off, let's talk about the good stuff. This Ranger comes with a manual transmission, which is great news for those who love the control and engagement that comes with shifting gears themselves. It's also got a V6 engine, which the seller says provides plenty of power. The 4-speed manual transmission and 4-wheel drive make this a great option for those who need a truck that can handle some off-road adventures. The seller also mentions that the seat and door panels have been newly reupholstered, which is a nice touch. The new alternator and clutch are also great signs that the truck has been well maintained. However, there are a few issues to keep in mind. The biggest one is that the starter is currently not engaging correctly, which means the truck doesn't start. The seller is upfront about this issue and says that the truck runs great when the starter is working properly. They also mention that they're tired of messing with the starter, which suggests that it may be a recurring issue. Another thing to note is that the front driver's side fender has had some body work done and is painted a slightly different shade than the rest of the truck. It's not a perfect match, but it's not a deal breaker either. The seller is asking $1,500 or best offer for the truck, and they're also open to possible trades. Keep in mind that the tags are expired, but the seller does have a clear and clean Oregon title. One important thing to note is that the seller recommends bringing a trailer to transport the truck, since the starter issue means it can't be driven away. This is definitely something to keep in mind if you're seriously considering purchasing this Ranger. Overall, if you're handy with repairs and don't mind putting in a little work to get this truck up and running, it could be a great deal. The price is definitely on the lower end for a classic 444 pickup, and the fact that it's got a new alternator, clutch, and upholstery is a big plus. As always, be sure to do your due diligence before making a purchase. Ask for more photos if you need them, and consider getting a professional inspection to ensure that the starter issue is the only major problem. But if you're up for a little project and want a fun and powerful truck to play with, this 1984 Ford Ranger could be a great option. 4. We're taking a closer look at a 1983 Chevrolet Blazer that's currently available on Facebook Marketplace. This brown beauty is priced at $8,000, and from what the seller has shared, it seems like it could be a great project for the right buyer. First off, let's talk about the specs. This Blazer comes with an automatic transmission, which is great for those who prefer a more laid-back driving experience. The exterior color is a classic brown, which gives it a nice vintage look. The seller hasn't mentioned the interior color, but based on the price and the overall description, it's safe to assume that it may need some work. One of the biggest selling points of this Blazer is the fact that it's got a brand new Crate 350 small block engine. This means that the heart of the vehicle is brand new and ready to go, which can give you some peace of mind knowing that you won't have to worry about engine issues anytime soon. The seller also mentions that the transmission has been fully rebuilt, which is another great sign. A rebuilt transmission can help ensure that the vehicle shifts smoothly and reliably. The Rancho 4-inch suspension lift is a nice touch for those who want a little extra height and clearance. The seller also notes that the undercarriage is rust-free, which is always a big plus for older vehicles. The 35-inch Hercules tires are brand new, which means you won't have to worry about replacing them anytime soon. The rebuilt and reupholstered vinyl seats are another great feature, as they can help make the interior feel fresh and new. Now let's talk about the overall condition. The seller is upfront about the fact that this Blazer needs some work in the paint, body, and dash departments. This is definitely something to keep in mind if you're considering purchasing this vehicle, as it may require some additional investment to get it looking and feeling its best. The seller also mentions that the exhaust is new, which is a good sign that the vehicle has been well maintained. Overall, if you're in the market for a classic Blazer with a brand new engine and transmission, this 1983 model could be a great option. The price seems fair for the work that's been done, and the fact that it's rust-free and has new tires is a big plus. As always, Be sure to do your due diligence before making a purchase. Ask for more photos if you need them, and consider getting a professional inspection to ensure that everything is in good working order. But if you're up for a little project and want a fun and capable SUV to play with, this 1983 Chevrolet Blazer could be a great choice. 5. We're taking a closer look at a 1977 Chevrolet K20 that's currently up for grabs on Facebook Marketplace. This yellow and black beauty is priced at $8,800, and from what the seller has shared, it seems like it could be a great find for the right buyer. First off, let's talk about the specs. This K20 comes with an automatic transmission, specifically a TH350, which is known for its durability and smooth shifting. The exterior color is a classic yellow, which gives it a nice vintage look, while the interior is a sleek black. The seller mentions that the truck has been driven 168,231 miles, which is to be expected for a vehicle of this age. Under the hood, you'll find a 350 small block Chevy engine, which is a tried-and-true power plant that's known for its reliability and performance. The seller has made some nice upgrades here, including an Edelbrock carb, Headman headers, and a mild cam, which should give the engine a little extra kick. The seller also mentions that the truck has recently had a tune-up and has no leaks, which is always a good sign. The 4x4 NP203 transfer case is another great feature, as it allows for some serious off-road capability. Now, let's talk about the overall condition. The seller notes that this is an original Central Oregon truck, which is a big plus for those who value a vehicle's history and provenance. They also mention that it's in very good condition, with a clean title and no significant damage or problems. The interior sounds like it's in great shape, with a crack-free dash, decent carpet, and a Bluetooth stereo with 6 ATIC-9 speakers in the doors. This is a nice modern touch that can make the driving experience a little more enjoyable. The seller describes the truck as a turnkey vehicle, which means it's ready to go and drive without any major issues. They also note that it runs and drives great, which is always a good sign. Overall, if you're in the market for a classic Chevy truck with some nice upgrades and a clean history, this 1977 K20 could be a great option. The price seems fair for the condition and the work that's been done, and the fact that it's a turnkey vehicle is a big plus. As always, be sure to do your due diligence before making a purchase. Ask for more photos if you need them, and consider getting a professional inspection to ensure that everything is in good working order. But if everything checks out, this could be a great addition to your garage or a fun weekend cruiser. 6. We're taking a closer look at a 1976 Chevrolet 1500 that's currently available on Facebook Marketplace. This brown beauty is priced at $10,000, but there are a few things to keep in mind before you make an offer. First off, let's talk about the specs. This 1500 comes with an automatic transmission, which is great for those who prefer a more laid-back driving experience. The exterior color is a classic brown, which gives it a nice vintage look. The seller hasn't mentioned the interior color, but based on the price and the overall description, it's safe to assume that it may need some work. Under the hood, you'll find a 350 motor, which the seller says runs smoothly. This is definitely a plus, as a well-running engine is the heart of any vehicle. Now let's talk about the overall condition. The seller describes this 1500 as a square body in great shape, which suggests that the body and frame are in good condition. However, it's important to note that the seller's description is quite brief, and there may be some issues or flaws that aren't mentioned. One thing that's a bit confusing is that the seller mentions a 1986 model year, even though the listing is for a 1976 Chevrolet 1500. This could be a typo or an error on the seller's part, but it's definitely something to clarify before making an offer. The seller is asking $10,000 or best offer for the truck, which seems a bit high based on the limited information provided. Without more details about the truck's history, maintenance records, and overall condition, it's hard to say whether this is a fair price or not. Overall, if you're in the market for a classic Chevy truck with a 350 motor, this 1976 or possibly 1986 1500 could be worth checking out. However, it's important to approach this listing with a bit of caution and to ask plenty of questions before making an offer. As always, be sure to do your due diligence before making a purchase. Ask for more photos and details about the truck's history and condition, and consider getting a professional inspection to ensure that everything is in good working order. If possible, try to see the truck in person and take it for a test drive to get a better sense of how it runs and handles. If everything checks out and you're able to negotiate a fair price, this could be a great project truck or a fun weekend cruiser. Just be sure to go into the transaction with your eyes wide open and your expectations in check. 7. We're taking a closer look at a 1978 Ford F-150 that's currently up for grabs on Facebook Marketplace. This green beauty is priced at $14,000, and from what the seller has shared, it seems like it could be a great find for the right buyer. First off, let's talk about the specs. This F-150 comes with a manual transmission, specifically a 4-speed, which is great for those who love the control and engagement that comes with shifting gears themselves. The exterior color is a classic green, which gives it a nice vintage look. The seller hasn't mentioned the interior color, but based on the price and the overall description, it's safe to assume that it may be in good condition. Under the hood, you'll find a 351 Windsor engine, which is a powerful and reliable motor that's well suited for a truck like this. The seller has made some nice upgrades here, including an aluminum intake with a 4-barrel carburetor and an RV cam, which should give the engine a little extra kick. One of the biggest selling points of this F-150 is the fact that it has no rust, which is incredibly rare for a truck of this age. Rust can be a major issue for older vehicles, especially those that have been exposed to harsh weather conditions or road salt, so the fact that this truck is rust-free is a huge plus. The seller also mentions that the truck has a 4-inch lift, which gives it a nice aggressive stance and some extra ground clearance for off-road adventures. Now let's talk about the overall condition. The seller notes that this F-150 has been driven 124,000 miles, which is relatively low for a truck of this age. They also mention that it's a one-owner vehicle, which suggests that it's been well maintained and cared for over the years. The seller's description is fairly brief, but it does hit on some of the key selling points of the truck. The rust-free body, manual transmission, and upgraded engine are all great features that could make this F-150 a great buy for the right person. Overall, if you're in the market for a classic Ford truck with some nice upgrades and a clean, rust-free body, this 1978 F-150 could be a great option. The price is a bit high, but if the truck is truly in as good of condition as the seller suggests, it could be worth the investment. As always, be sure to do your due diligence before making a purchase. Ask for more photos and details about the truck's history and maintenance records, and consider getting a professional inspection to ensure that everything is in good working order. If possible, try to see the truck in person and take it for a test drive to get a better sense of how it runs and handles. 8. We're taking a closer look at a 1978 Chevrolet 2500 that's currently available on Facebook Marketplace. This gray and tan beauty is priced at $7,500, and from what the seller has shared, it seems like it could be a great project truck for the right buyer. First off, let's talk about the specs. This 2500 comes with a manual transmission, which is great for those who love the control and engagement that comes with shifting gears themselves. The exterior color is a sleek gray, while the interior is a nice tan color. The seller mentions that the truck has had 3 or more owners, which is to be expected for a vehicle of this age. One of the biggest selling points of this 2500 is the fact that it's a 454 SS model, which means it's got a big, powerful engine under the hood. The seller has also added some nice upgrades, including brand new 35X 12.50 Nitto Ridge Grappler tires on Moto Metal wheels with a 44 offset. This gives the truck a nice aggressive stance and some serious off-road capability. The seller also mentions that the truck comes with a ton of extra parts, which could be a big plus for those who like to tinker and make upgrades. Now, let's talk about the overall condition. The seller describes this 2500 as super clean with minimal rust, which is always a good sign for an older truck. However, They also note that the truck needs a little TLC and has amazing potential, which suggests that there may be some issues or areas that need attention. It's important to keep in mind that this is a project truck and it may require some work to get it into top shape. The seller is upfront about this, which is a good sign that they're being honest and transparent about the vehicle's condition. The price of $7,500 seems fairly reasonable for a truck of this age and condition, especially considering the upgrades and extra parts that come with it. However, it's always a good idea to do your own research and compare prices on similar vehicles before making an offer. Overall, if you're in the market for a classic Chevy truck with a big engine and some nice upgrades, this 1978 2500 could be a great option. Just be prepared to put in some work to get it into top shape and make it your own. As always, be sure to do your due diligence before making a purchase. Ask for more photos and details about the truck's history and condition, and consider getting a professional inspection to ensure that there are no major issues or hidden problems. If possible, try to see the truck in person and take it for a test drive to get a better sense of how it runs and handles. 9. We're taking a closer look at a 1965 Chevrolet C20 that's currently up for grabs on Facebook Marketplace. This green and tan beauty is priced at $8,500, and from what the seller has shared, it seems like it could be a solid buy for the right person. First off, let's talk about the specs. This C20 comes with an automatic transmission, specifically a Turbo 400, which is known for its durability and smooth shifting. The exterior color is a classic green, while the interior is a nice tan color. The seller mentions that the truck has been driven an impressive 500,000 miles, which is a testament to its longevity and reliability. Under the hood, you'll find a 350 motor, which is a tried-and-true engine that's well suited for a truck like this. The seller notes that the truck runs well, which is always a good sign. One of the nice features of this C20 is the power steering, which can make driving and maneuvering the truck a lot easier. The seller also mentions that the gauges and lights all work, which is important for safety and functionality. The tilt column is another nice touch, as it allows you to adjust the steering wheel to a comfortable position for your height and driving style. Now, let's talk about the overall condition. The seller describes this C20 as having no significant damage or problems, which is great news. They also mention that it has a clean title, which means there are no major issues or liens on the vehicle. The fact that the truck has been driven 500,000 miles might give some buyers pause, but it's important to keep in mind that these old Chevy trucks were built to last. With proper maintenance and care, they can keep running strong for many more miles to come. The price of $8,500 seems fairly reasonable for a truck of this age and condition, especially considering the upgrades and features that it has. However, as with any used vehicle purchase, it's always a good idea to do your own research and compare prices on similar trucks in your area. Overall, if you're in the market for a classic Chevy truck with a strong engine and some nice features, this 1965 C20 could be a great option. Just be sure to do your due diligence and have a mechanic check it out before making a final decision. If everything checks out and you're able to come to an agreement with the seller, this could be a great truck to own and enjoy for years to come. Whether you use it for work, play, or just cruising around town, a classic Chevy like this is sure to turn heads and start conversations wherever you go. 10. We're taking a closer look at a 1979 Ford F-150 that's currently available on Facebook Marketplace. This blue beauty is priced at $7,500, and from what the seller has shared, it seems like it could be a real gem for the right buyer. First off, let's talk about the specs. This F-150 comes with an automatic transmission, which is great for those who prefer a more laid-back driving experience. The exterior and interior are both a nice blue color, which gives the truck a classic and cohesive look. The seller mentions that the truck has been driven just 62,000 miles, which is incredibly low for a vehicle of this age. One of the biggest selling points of this F-150 is the fact that it has a rebuilt 400 engine with less than 500 miles on it. This means that the heart of the truck has been completely overhauled and should be in great condition. The seller also notes that the truck is all original and unmolested, which is a big plus for collectors and enthusiasts who value authenticity. Another great feature of this F-150 is that it's an original Arizona truck, which means it's likely been spared from the rust and corrosion that can plague vehicles in other parts of the country. The seller specifically mentions that the truck is rust-free, which is a huge selling point for a classic vehicle like this. Now let's talk about the overall condition. The seller describes this F-150 as having no significant damage or problems, which is always a good sign. They also mention that it has a clean title, which means there are no major issues or liens on the vehicle. The fact that this truck has been so well preserved and maintained over the years is a testament to its quality and durability. With just 62,000 miles on the odometer and a rebuilt engine, this F-150 could have a lot of life left in it. The price of $7,500 seems very reasonable for a truck of this age and condition, especially considering the low mileage and rebuilt engine. However, as with any used vehicle purchase, it's always a good idea to do your own research and have a mechanic check it out before making a final decision. Overall, if you're in the market for a classic Ford truck with low mileage and a rebuilt engine, this 1979 F-150 could be a fantastic option. The fact that it's rust-free and all original is just icing on the cake. As always, be sure to ask for more photos and details about the truck's history and maintenance records, and try to see it in person if possible. Take it for a test drive and get a feel for how it runs and handles, and don't be afraid to negotiate on price if you think it's warranted. 11. We're taking a look at a 1971 Ford F-150 that's currently for sale on Facebook Marketplace. This blue beauty is priced at $2,500. But there are a few things to keep in mind before you make an offer. First off, let's talk about the specs. This F-150 comes with an automatic transmission, which is great for those who prefer a more laid-back driving experience. The exterior color is a nice blue, but the seller hasn't mentioned the interior color. The fuel type is gasoline, which is pretty standard for a truck of this age. Now here's where things get a bit tricky. The seller's description is incredibly brief, simply stating Ford F-100. This lack of information is definitely concerning, as it doesn't give us much to go on in terms of the truck's condition, history, or features. Without more details, it's hard to say whether this F-150 is a great deal or a potential money pit. The price of $10,500 seems a bit high for a truck with so little information provided, especially considering the age of the vehicle. It's possible that this F-150 is in excellent condition and has been well maintained over the years, but it's also possible that it has significant issues or damage that the seller isn't disclosing. The lack of photos and details is a red flag that shouldn't be ignored. If you're seriously interested in this truck, it's crucial that you reach out to the seller and ask for more information. Request additional photos of the interior, exterior, and undercarriage, and ask about the truck's history, maintenance records, and any known issues or damage. It's also a good idea to have a mechanic inspect the truck before making a purchase, especially given the lack of information provided. This can help you identify any potential problems and make an informed decision about whether this F-150 is worth the asking price. Overall, while this 1971 Ford F-150 could be a great find for the right buyer, the lack of information provided by the seller makes it a risky proposition. If you're willing to do your due diligence and investigate further, it's possible that this truck could be a diamond in the rough. However, if you're looking for a more straightforward and transparent buying experience, you may want to keep looking. As always, be sure to approach this listing with caution and do your research before making any commitments. Don't be afraid to walk away if the seller is unwilling to provide more information or if the truck doesn't meet your expectations in person. 12. Let me tell you about this 1976 Ford F-150 I found on Marketplace. This is an interesting piece of American muscle, a short box 4x4 with a 351 modified engine that's been tweaked for performance. With just 65,000 miles on the clock, there's still plenty of life left in this classic truck. The red-on-red color combo gives it that bold vintage look that really stands out. Being completely honest here, this is clearly a project truck that the current owner picked up in 2017 but hasn't completed. They're straightforward about wanting to clear their yard, and while they mention they want $25,000 for it, they're listing it at $10,000 firm. The presence of worn hubs is a nice touch for serious off-road capability. The manual transmission makes it a proper driver's truck, though you'll want to inspect the condition thoroughly since the seller isn't providing much detail about its current running state. The price point suggests there might be work needed, but these F-150s are known for being reliable workhorses when properly maintained. For someone looking to take on a classic Ford project, this could be interesting. Just go in with eyes wide open and maybe bring along a mechanic for inspection. The seller seems pretty no-nonsense about the sale. Cash only, no trades, no games. Remember, these old Fords have a strong following, and parts are generally available, which is always a plus for a project vehicle. Just make sure you're ready for whatever work it might need before making that $10,000 commitment. 13. Let me tell you about this 1984 Ford F-150 I spotted on Marketplace. Look, I'll be straight with you. This is an older truck with 186,000 miles that's showing its age. The seller is upfront about it needing bodywork, which is refreshingly honest. At $4,800, you're looking at a running and driving F-150 that's going to need some TLC, particularly in the cosmetic department. The red-on-red color combination is classic Ford, and it's got the convenience of an automatic transmission. While the seller claims there's no significant damage or problems and it has a clean title, you'll want to inspect those body issues carefully. These 8th generation F-150s are known for their durability, but after nearly 40 years, rust and wear are common issues. For the price point, you're getting a piece of American truck history that's still functional. The fact that it runs and drives is a big plus. Many of these old workhorses don't even do that anymore. However, don't expect a show-ready truck. This is more of a project vehicle or a working truck that needs some love. If you're handy with bodywork or don't mind investing in repairs, this could be a decent buy. These trucks are relatively simple to work on, and parts are generally available. Just remember, you're buying a 39-year-old truck that needs work, so factor those upcoming repair costs into your budget beyond the $4,800 asking price. 14. Let me tell you about this 1985 Chevrolet Silverado C10 K10 1500 that's caught my attention on Marketplace. What's really catching my eye is how this truck represents the perfect blend of classic and practical upgrades. The 350-350 combo is legendary in the Chevy world. It's like the small block equivalent of comfort food. With the addition of the Edelbrock 1406 carburetor, which is known for great street performance and reliability, headers and that small cam, you're looking at a setup that'll give you enough power to be fun, while still being totally streetable. The 4.6 drop is particularly interesting. That means it's lowered 4 inches in the front and 6 in the rear, giving it that perfect rake that these square bodies wear so well. Combined with the new wheels and tires, I bet this truck has that perfect stance that makes these 80s Chevys look so good. Let's talk about the creature comforts because this is where many classic trucks fall short. The fact that this one has working power windows, locks, and a modern alarm system is huge. The new seat, carpet, and headliner mean you're not sitting in 38-year-old worn-out materials. And those new door and window seals mean no annoying wind noise or leaks. The aluminum radiator upgrade is a smart choice for better cooling and longevity. The 95,000-mile odometer reading is pretty low for a truck of this age, and while there are some minor dents and dings, the zero rust claim is significant. These square-body Chevys are notorious for rust issues, especially in the cab corners and rocker panels, so a rust-free example is getting harder to find. At $14,500, you're buying a truck that's been thoughtfully modified and maintained. The seller's willingness to show a walk-around video suggests they're proud of their work and have nothing to hide. Plus, the fact that they're open to trading for a pre-72 C10 or classic Chevy Buick shows they're genuine car people who understand the market. For someone looking for a classic truck that's been upgraded in all the right ways while maintaining its original character, this could be a solid investment. It's not just a pretty face, it's a functional, drivable classic that you could easily use as a daily driver or weekend cruiser. The combination of mechanical upgrades and comfort improvements makes this a particularly attractive package for someone who wants to actually drive and enjoy their classic truck rather than just show it. Remember, finding a square-body Chevy in this condition, with these upgrades, and no rust is becoming increasingly difficult. While $14,500 might seem steep to some, in today's market for well-maintained classic trucks, it's actually quite reasonable considering all the work that's been done. 15. Let me tell you about this 1978 Chevrolet C10 long bed I found on Marketplace. I really appreciate the seller's honesty here. They're not trying to hide anything. This is a classic C10 with the Cheyenne trim package and a trusty 350 V8 paired to a TH350 automatic transmission. At $2,500, let's be real about what you're getting. The seller is completely upfront about the rust issues. We're talking cab corners, rockers, floor edges, and box rust. That's pretty typical for these old C10s, especially in Nebraska where winter salt takes its toll. But here's the good news. It runs and drives great, which is a huge plus for a 45-year-old truck at this price point. For $2,500, you're getting a running and driving piece of American truck history. Sure, it needs work, a lot of work if you're planning to restore it, but it could make a decent daily driver while you slowly fix it up. These C10s are incredibly popular for restoration projects because parts are readily available and they're relatively simple to work on. Just remember, you're not buying a show truck here. You're buying a project that needs metal work but has good bones with that reliable 350 TH350 combo. For someone willing to take on the rust repair or just looking for a classic work truck that they're not afraid to use, this could be a solid deal at $2,500. 16. Let me tell you about this 1978 Ford F-150 4X4 that's popped up on Marketplace. This is actually a pretty special find. We're looking at a one-owner short bed F-150 with some serious muscle under the hood. The 351 Windsor engine is a legendary Ford power plant, and this one's been upgraded with an aluminum intake, 4-barrel carburetor, and an RV cam, which typically means it's got a nice lopey idle and some extra power through the mid-range. What really catches my attention is the seller's claim of no rust. That's incredibly rare for a 45-year-old truck. Combined with a 4-inch lift and short bed configuration, this F-150 has that perfect classic off-road stance that these old Fords wear so well. The green exterior is a classic period color that suits these trucks perfectly. The manual 4-speed transmission makes this a proper driver's truck, giving you full control over that modified 351. With 124,000 miles, it's been used but not abused. Pretty reasonable mileage for a truck of this age. The fact that it's a one-owner vehicle suggests it's likely been maintained consistently throughout its life. At $14,000, you're paying for condition and originality here. The combination of no rust, one owner, and tasteful modifications makes this a more valuable example than your typical 78 F-150. The short bed 4x4 configuration is highly desirable, and these dent-side Fords have been climbing in value. This isn't just a truck. It's a well-preserved piece of Ford history, with just the right upgrades to make it both collectible and enjoyable to drive. For someone looking for a classic 404 that's ready. 17. We're taking a look at a 1985 Chevrolet K10, priced at $6,000. According to the seller's description, this K10 has been driven for 50,000 miles and comes with an automatic transmission. The exterior and interior of the truck are both in a beautiful blue color, which gives it a nice, cohesive look. The vehicle runs on gasoline and comes with a clean title, indicating that there are no major issues with its ownership history. The seller mentions that the engine and automatic transmission are in good condition, which is great news for potential buyers. However, they do note that there are some minor things that need to be fixed. The seller has a list of these small issues and encourages interested parties to send them a direct message for more information. It's important to note that the seller explicitly states that they are not interested in any trades, so if you're looking to make a deal, be prepared to pay cash. Overall, this 1985 Chevrolet K10 seems to be in decent shape, considering its age. The low mileage and good condition of the engine and transmission are definite positives. While there are some minor issues that need to be addressed, the seller appears to be upfront about them, which is a good sign. As always, it's crucial to do your due diligence when purchasing a used vehicle, especially one that's nearly 40 years old. If you're interested in this classic truck, be sure to ask the seller for more details about the minor issues they mentioned and consider having a mechanic inspect the vehicle before making a final decision. 18. We're taking a closer look at a 1983 Ford F-150, priced at $1,800. This F-150 is a 4x4 plow truck, which means it comes equipped with a power angle Western plow, making it a great choice for those who need a reliable vehicle for snow removal. The truck has been driven for 44,169 miles, which is relatively low for a vehicle of this age. It comes with an automatic transmission, and both the exterior and interior are in a blue color scheme. Under the hood, you'll find a 5.0-liter engine, which is paired with the automatic transmission. The seller mentions that the truck runs very well, which is a positive sign. However, it's important to note that the seller also admits that the truck is rusty. This is not uncommon for a vehicle that's been used as a plow truck, as exposure to salt and harsh weather conditions can take a toll on the body. The truck has a 6-foot bed, which is a bit shorter than some other F-150 models, but still provides ample space for hauling and transporting goods. The seller is asking $1,800 or best offer for the truck, which seems like a fair price considering its age, mileage, and condition. They are also open to considering trades, so if you have something of value to offer, it might be worth reaching out to them. One thing to keep in mind is that this truck is located in Shunk, Pennsylvania, so if you're not in the area, you'll need to factor in the cost of transportation. However, the seller does mention that delivery is available, so that 19. Let me tell you about this 1972 Ford F-100 Ranger I found on Marketplace for $4,500. This classic pickup has that unmistakable 70s charm with its orange exterior and matching interior. Definitely a head-turner. The truck's been through just 2 owners, which is pretty impressive for a 50-year-old vehicle. Now let's be honest here. The seller's upfront about the fact that this isn't a hop-in-and-go situation. While it does run and drive, it'll need some tuning before you could use it as your daily driver. But hey, at $4,500, and they're open to offers, that's actually pretty reasonable for a classic F-100, especially in today's market. These old Ford pickups are known for their durability and relatively simple mechanics, which makes them great projects for both beginners and experienced gearheads. The manual transmission is a plus for many collectors and enthusiasts who love that authentic driving experience. For someone looking to get into classic trucks without breaking the bank, this could be a solid starting point. Just remember, you're not buying a perfectly restored show truck. You're getting a piece of American automotive history that needs some love to get it back to its prime. But that's part of the adventure with these old trucks, right? 20. We're taking a closer look at a 1984 Dodge Ram Charger, priced at $6,000. This Ram Charger has been driven for only 53,000 miles, which is relatively low for a vehicle that's nearly 40 years old. It comes with an automatic transmission, making it easy to drive for those who prefer not to shift gears manually. The exterior of the SUV is in a blue color, while the interior is gray, providing a nice contrast. Under the hood, you'll find a 318 cubic inch engine, which is likely a 318 LA V8 that was commonly used in Dodge vehicles of this era. The seller mentions that the truck runs, which is a good sign, but doesn't provide much additional information about its overall condition. One positive aspect of this Ram Charger is that it comes with a clean title and is fully paid off, which means there are no outstanding liens or financing issues to worry about. The seller also notes that the vehicle has no significant damage or problems, which is reassuring. However, it's important to keep in mind that the seller's description is quite brief and doesn't provide a lot of details about the vehicle's history or any potential issues. If you're seriously interested in purchasing this Ram Charger, it's crucial to ask the seller for more information and to have the vehicle inspected by a mechanic before making a final decision. The seller mentions that the red truck in the photos has already been sold, so if you're interested in this blue Ram Charger, you'll want to act quickly. The vehicle is located in Edgewood, which is likely referring to Edgewood, Maryland. If you're not in the area, you'll need to factor in the cost of transportation or arrange for shipping. Overall, this 1984 Dodge Ram Charger seems like a decent option for someone who is looking for a classic SUV with low mileage and a clean title. However, the lack of detailed information in the seller's description means that potential buyers will need to do their due diligence and ask plenty of questions before making a purchase. As always, be sure to have the vehicle inspected and consider the potential costs of any necessary